Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page, where I do a daily live stream all around the divination card or the oracle card that's drawn in the morning between me and my spiritual team, and that's what we have a conversation about during this live stream. And I really enjoy the spiritual conversation that comes through the chat. So welcome. And today is Friday. Yay! Friday, April 5th. Yeah, can you believe it? It's the 5th already. Yay! I know. It's a happy day here. Really it is. And here, I live in Tomah, Wisconsin, which is about an hour east of the Mississippi in the northwestern part of the state. And it's a beautiful day. We were supposed to have like cloudy all day. And guess what? We've had sunshine since about mid-morning, and now we're mid-afternoon, and it's still sunshiny out. It's really nice out. You can really feel that we're in spring. Yeah, it feels good, and makes your attitude a lot better than it was when it was 20 below. That's for sure. And George is with me too. I don't know if you can see him behind me. Maybe not. Yeah, George, you lay down, please. Okay. We're working. Do you remember that's your job? He asked what his job. Oh my goodness. I don't know. That happened yesterday too, where we just kind of disappeared for a minute. Not even a minute. It was just a couple of seconds. Anyway, George, our 8-month-old puppy now, is going to be 9 on the 13th of April. When he was having a conversation with Leslie Serenesi, an animal communicator who is one of our contributing writers here at Star Nations, I guess they talked about his job. He wanted to know exactly what his job was going to be, and he's definitely feeling the Friday afternoon energy because he's not doing his job. At least not the way he usually does it. His job is to help us hold the energy, to ground the energy here while I'm doing the live stream. And he usually lays underneath the table. And many times he's asleep, and other times he's just kind of laying there listening. And today, I think he's got TGIF fever. Yeah. He wants to play. So anyway, today is kind of an interesting day here at Star Nations. It's a very productive morning. I think it was because it was such a pleasant energy, and I have to tell you, much different than it has been in the last few days. Yesterday was a lot about. I felt like I was going through caffeine withdrawal, and I know I wasn't. George, that's enough now. That's enough. Yeah, I might have to go put him out in the car. If he's not gonna, we're not having an earthquake or anything. That's George underneath the table. Yeah, I'm going to give him a couple more minutes here, and if he doesn't settle down, I'll have to excuse myself just for a moment and take him out to the car. Yeah, one of the things we're going to do here is we're going to put a fenced-in area for him up here so that when I come up and he's like this, he doesn't have to sit in the car. I can just put him outside and he'll be very, very happy out there. But that's not going to happen for another few months. Yeah, Mr. Uppy Pay. Yep, that's him. And you're right, Rob. But Mama, I'm being cute. And he is cute. That's the problem. Rob, is that he has cuteness. And then he pulls it out when he needs to use it. Yep, that's him. He makes life interesting, that's for sure. Okay, so back to Star Nations. Yeah, very productive morning this morning. It was. I worked on a little bit of everything, and got a lot done this morning. So I'm in a happy mood. I really am. So before we get started with the card information, I am going to like and share the live stream. I just have to find it. There it is. Got to go to the fan page. Got to scrolling. There we are. And I'm a loving it, and I'm a sharing it. I'm gonna share it over to my newsfeed, just so that my friends know that I'm live streaming. Whoops. Got a spelling is a good thing. And asking them to please join us. There we go. And then we're going to post. And I also have to plug in my phone because it looks like I'm running out of juice here. There we go. There. Yeah. Yesterday, energy, like I said, was kind of wonky, It was, for me, it was a lot of stop, start, as well, because I was having problems with my internet. Yeah, and I thought I had it fixed. And I went back down to the house after the live stream yesterday, and I was going to sit down and do a little bit more work, and I didn't have any internet again. It's like, what is the problem? What is the problem? And so I had to text Paul again, and because he's at work, right? And he said, hang on, I'll be home in a few minutes. And so he comes home, and we're putzing with it. I missed a phone call because of it. Rats. It's like rats. But we figured it out, and he said it's actually pretty easy, and showed me exactly where I have to look on the back of the Netgear box, right? And it can hardly see it. There's this tiny little button back there that you have to. It's like a reset, I guess. But you push it, and it resets. And I thought I did that, but it seems that I didn't. Either that, or because what happened was that our house cleaner, when she was dusting, she might have hit it, right? And then when we were trying to figure out, she was trying to help me, and she was back there trying to do some more cleaning afterwards. So I'm sure that button got pushed again, and so anyway, I spent. Because about 98% of what I do, I need the internet, and so it was like having a day off without planning it. Yeah. Yeah, Rob says scrolling. Keep that mouse and scrolling. Yeah, Rawhide, isn't it? Rawhide. Yeah, that was a show when I was a kid. Valerie's here. Hello, Valerie. Good to have you here. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody else down below here. Nope, I didn't. Thank you, Stephanie, for posting all of those posts for us. Thank you. Julie's here too. Hello, Julie. Good to have you here on a Friday afternoon. Just power cycle it. I don't know what that means, Rob. Power cycle it. I was going to take the cable that I have and that I use, for live streams when I'm live streaming from the house, and just from the router directly to my laptop. That's what I was going to do. But I had to figure out why we didn't have internet. And so that took up most of my time, just trying to figure it out. Had I just left it and let Paul do it, I would have been able to get some work done. But I needed to figure it out, because I kept thinking to myself, what happens if he's on a business trip and this happens? And I don't know how to fix it or what to do with it, right? So I had to learn how to do it. That's what I did. I have no excuse now. Excuses are done when it comes to that. All right, so here we go. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rob. He says he'll explain it in a private message. It's a way to restart it that clears everything. Yay! Okay, I'll look forward to that, Rob. Okay, Georgie, you're going to have to lay down, babe. Okay? Because we're going to start working right now. I'm going to show them the first card. Okay? All right. Here we go. Here's the first card. Look who came to visit, the standing people, the tree people. Yeah, the tree nations. There's all kinds of names for them. Yeah. The standing people. This is one of my favorite cards, I think. This because it's got so much color in it, and the trees. Yeah. And it says roots and giving. Roots and giving. Get my camera to focus here. Come on, camera, focus. There we go. Roots and giving. It's a good one, huh? Those trees. And there is something that we really do, we in this community, we have in common, don't you think? Is it's how much we love nature and how much we love stones and crystals and trees. Yeah. A long time ago. Hi, Anne. Good to have you here. A long time ago, I don't know, it had to have been in the 80s, early 80s. I remember somebody at my work called me a tree hugger. Like that was a bad thing, right? And I remember we were sitting in the break room, and we were, having break coffee or whatever it was. I don't even remember what it was anymore. But we were sitting in the break room, and I started laughing. I said, "So that's your idea of being sarcastic and being mean? Is calling me a tree hugger?" I said, "To me, that's a compliment. That means I care about where I live. That means I care about nature. That I care about the trees." I said, "So to me, that's a compliment. Thank you very much." And I said, "And as a Native American, we were the original tree huggers here on this continent." And so I come from original tree huggers, and so, but that was back in the 80s. Can you imagine that? Do you remember those days when being called a tree hugger was not a compliment, supposedly? Yeah, way back when. And I was being honest with the guy. It's I thought it felt like a compliment to me, because yeah, if I could have done it and gone out to California and helped those people when they were sitting up in the trees, I would do that. That's right. That's right. That's right. But as we look at this, the message coming from this card in so many different ways, so many levels, right, of information coming to us from the standing people, from the tree nations. Yeah. Just taking it in with all your senses, even if you have to do a deep breath, and in that exhale, allowing yourself to relax and really taking in the information coming from the trees today. It's about roots and giving. Roots and giving. Trees can teach us so much, can't they? Many of us, we connect with them when we want to be grounded, right? Many times we go outside and maybe we'll stand against one or sit at the base of one, drawing in that energy, drawing in their love for us. Yeah. That feels so good, doesn't it? Yeah. And when you think about their root system and how they go so deep into the earth, right? Depending on the kind of tree, many times their taproot, their longest roots, is as it is tall. So when you take a look at a really old oak or a really huge pine tree, and you think about how deep their root actually goes down into grandmother earth, it's really deep, right? And they spread out, depending on it's called a drip line. The edge of the longest branches, right? Because as it rains, it drips, right? And so that's as wide as they are deep. And so they can teach us so much about being grounded, right? They lend us They lend us their medicine for that. Yeah, and here it's during this daily live stream, during this live stream, and many others at Star Nations, we talk a lot about, we share a lot about grounding, don't we? That's because it's really important. It's very important, because we're spirit having a physical experience here, right? And in our physical body, it comes from the earth. And so when we ground, it's like this muscle memory that our body has that recognizes that connection to Grandmother Earth. And our body is so happy when we do that, when we're consciously connected to Grandmother Earth. We never lose the connection, ever. The only time that connection isn't with us is when it's our time to walk on, to go back into spirit. So even though we say, "Are you grounded today?" Technically, you could say, "Of course I am." Of course I am. What we should be asking probably is, how deeply are you grounded today? How deeply are you grounded today? Or how completely grounded are you today? Right? Yeah. Was it on Wednesday night during Polly Joe's evening show, Soul Connections? She did a grounding technique or method that I hadn't heard her do before. And she was explaining that our old way of grounding, the one that we usually do, may not be enough. It may not be complete. And that being because we're in a different energy field. And doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that make sense? And so what she was doing was she was grounding, taking the energy from each one of our chakras and sending that down into the ground, down into Grandmother Earth. And so we had these, I'll call them rays, of our energy going into the earth, creating almost like a cable. That's what they're showing me. They're showing me a cable. And so, and when you have all of them together, all 7 of them, it's pretty thick cable. And so it was sending that down into Grandmother Earth, all the way down to her core, down to her heart. And so it's a more complete way of grounding, right? It was a really good visual. It was a really good visual, because technically the grounding that I share with you guys with, the Creator's energy coming down through your crown chakra, and you can feel it going through each one of your chakras down at the ground. That's doing the same thing. But the way that Polly Joe described it, it really gave us a good visual of the energy that what we were doing with our personal energy, right? Yeah. Yeah. And so trees can help us in so many ways. And so they can really teach us how to ground. Yes, we can go up to one of them, ask permission if we can be with them, right? And we can draw upon them because they love doing it. They do, because we're their relative. They want to help us. And so, yes, we can draw on it, but we can also learn from them and how they ground their energy, because they're the connection, just like us, between heaven and earth, right? Yeah. So Anne is saying it was a really intense grounding. It really was. It really was. I loved the visual because that gave the completeness that I was sensing, is that our mental mind was connected, involved in that grounding. Yeah, so I loved it. Julie's saying it was a good grounding meditation. Yes, it was. One of the really, really good ideas that Stephanie has had, and one of these days we're going to actually get to it, is because all of our shows our live stream shows are automatically recorded as soon as we are finished. I don't know how Facebook does that, but immediately afterwards, they're rendered and you can watch the recording, right? Well, I have an app that I purchased that will take that recorded video and automatically send it over to YouTube, all right, and then also the audio to SoundCloud. Now that we and it takes both of those versions and sends it over to Dropbox so that we have an archive unrelated to Facebook, unrelated to YouTube or SoundCloud. So we have it saved in a couple of different places, right? As backups. So Stephanie has this really brilliant idea, and that is to take the audio, okay, the audio and also the video, and edit any of the meditations that any of the teachers, any of the hosts have ever done, and so that we can offer those in a different way. So sure, you could download the video or download the audio from SoundCloud and do the same thing yourself, and just fast forward or to that mark in the show and just do the meditation on your own. You can use it again and again if you wanted to, right? So it's good. And so one of these days we're actually going to get to it. Yeah. I think we need one person just dedicated to that alone, because that's a huge undertaking, is to do that kind of editing. Yeah, we'll get to it. We, 1 inch at a time, step by step. Isn't that an old show with Laurel and Hardy, wasn't it? Inch by inch. No, it wasn't Laurel and Hardy. It was, I can't remember their names. Inch by inch, step by step. They were a comedy team, 2 guys, Costello, Lou Costello, and come on, Julie Shumway Hill. I know you know this one. She's really good at trivia. Abbott and Costello, that's it. Yeah, that was one of their lines from one of their shows. Inch by inch, step by step. The closer you get, right? All right, so back to the tree people. All right. Okay, so here's the poem that the author, Jamie Sams, has for this particular card. She says, "Aho, sacred tree of life, the root of every tree, thank you for giving the gifts you give to me. Aho, standing people, from where I will learn to keep my roots well planted, yet reach for grandfather's son. Aho, willow, tree of love, teach me to bend till I come full circle, each relation as my friend." And I really like her poems. And so really, she's really telling us that the trees have so much to teach us if we're willing to slow down and just be with them, right? Yeah. She goes on to say that they teach, that she's talking about the Cherokee, that they teach the standing people and all others of the plant kingdom are the givers who constantly provide for the needs of others. And when you couple that with the stone people, the standing people, the stone people and the tree people balance each other. Because the stone people hold on. They hold on to the energy, the information. They're the record keepers, right? And the trees are givers. And so they balance each other out. They hold each other up. I think that's really cool. The way that she brings that to us to remind us. And she also shares that trees Our bodies are much like trees, and it's a teaching coming from the Seneca. She says the Seneca say that each tree has more roots than branches, that is a teaching on how each standing person is connected to Mother Earth. As a standing people, we two-leggeds have a spine like a trunk, arms like branches, hair like leaves. We reach for light as the tree branches reaches for grandfather's sun. We receive understanding through our antenna, which is our hair, just as the trees receive light through their leaves. Each human has a different body, as do the standing people. No two are alike. Yeah. As two-leggeds, we also give and receive if we are walking in balance. Walking in balance can be achieved through remembering our roots, the only physical tree part we are lacking as humans. Yeah. Except maybe we could add in there that we do have tree roots. It's just that they're energetic, right? They're energetic. They're part of our light body, that we can actually send our energy down into the earth, just like we do in the meditations. The standing people teach us how to run our roots deep into the earth to receive spiritual nourishing, as well as the reconnective energies that keeps our body healthy. And it's our connection, remembering our connection to Grandmother Earth and being connected to her in that way. But even in the physical sense, because when we have our feet on Grandmother Earth, her electrical body, her electromagnetic body, right, actually helps to heal us. Yeah. And I'm sure you've heard it by now. It's called earthing. It's a term that was brought about, I think it was in the 90s, and has gained momentum. And there's lots of people who have earthing mats and things like that now. For those people who live like in apartments in cities, right? And so getting out and spending time in nature is, you really have to plan it, right? Yeah. Whereas those of us who live out in the country, we walk out our front door or our back door, and there we are, right? We don't have to get in the car to go anywhere. But even if you are sitting outside, it's getting almost warm enough to do this now. Sitting outside, and taking your socks and shoes off if you're wearing those, and just putting your feet on the ground, even for 20 minutes. They say that's so therapeutic. To have our physical body touching the earth. Yeah. Just like trees do. See, I knew you guys would help me out. Slowly I turn, step by step. Oh, I'm sorry. Abbott and Costello, and then Julie is saying, slowly I turn, step by step, closer and closer. Yep, that's it. Oh, good one. Stephanie shared the link, the YouTube link to Polly Joe's show. I still have to go in there and put the cover pictures on those, but yeah, it's there. And Cindy, hello, Cindy. Oh, it's good to have you here. She says, does anyone know the name of the book wrote recently about how trees are connected through their roots? I'm sure somebody does here. I remember reading the article about it was it last year, and how the connection is to they live in communities, they live in clans, and they nurture the young. Of course, they actually protect the young, and they take care of their elderly. And so when a tree actually walks on, it dies, or it is injured, right? And it ends up dying. What the best thing you can do is not to remove them, actually. Because us two-leggeds, we go out there and we try to make things tidy, right? We make sure that everything is picked up and taken away. But they say that to leave the tree, the fallen tree on the ground for some time, because what happens is they transfer their knowledge and their wisdom down into the earth, where their young and their clan, their clan absorbs their experience, their wisdom. And so, and we call it decaying, right? We call it, yeah. But they actually feed. They actually feed the young that way. Oh, and I read that, and I thought, oh my goodness, that is so loving, And here we do. We come and pick everything up and cut them up, and so they don't have a chance to do that knowledge transference. And so if you leave them on the ground for a while, that actually happens, that they actually transfer their knowledge to their young and to the rest of the clan members. And yes, they do communicate through their root system as well. Yeah. Was it? I can't remember. I probably shouldn't say it since I don't remember, but I thought that there was a tree that had their root system actually connected much like mushrooms. And I want to say that it's a cypress, I think. Somebody can look that up and make sure that I'm telling it right. And that that's how they actually seed, is to grow the young, right? And do their communication that way. So their clan system actually stretches for quite a distance. Good question, though, Cindy. Thank you for asking that. Rob says, I don't know the name, but I've heard of that. Yes, me too. Julie, of course, Julie, the hidden life of trees. Thank you, Julie. I tell you, she's going to be on my trivia team. That lady, she knows a lot. She remembers it. That's a good thing. All right. So with the standing people, they not only do they give us so much, when you think about, my goodness, they give us food, right? They give us lumber for our housing, right? They give us oxygen. Yeah. They give us a lot. They give us a lot. And what do we give in return? Because we take a lot. We take a lot. So what do we give in return? That's a good question. What do we give trees in return? I know that there's many in this community that give them love, that give them respect, that they honor them, that they protect them. Yeah. And I was just thinking, when we give tobacco in my family, there's a part in there, and we're just taking a little bit of tobacco for everything that we're saying, right? And so we're giving to, we're thanking, being grateful to, we're calling on them to help us again. And that is, we actually give to all things green. And that includes the trees, right? And so we're actually feeding them, giving them the spirit food, which is the tobacco. When we did the preparation here at Star Nations at the academy here, before we even built the building, Paul and I were up here. We're walking across the property, and we're talking about location of the building. And I was telling him that I want to take down as minimum amount of trees as possible. So where we locate it is going to make a big difference, right? And so we even had our construction people walking the property with us and talking about it. And so they staked it out, the dimensions and that sort of thing. And we talked about how close some of the trees were going to be to the building. And so we did. We took out the minimum amount of trees in order to create this building. And before even a tree was cut at all, I was up here. I was drumming for them. And I also, Paul and I both put down tobacco at each tree thanking them for their life force that they were going to be giving to this project that we were working on, and that we would remember and honor them, right? And to make sure that the their wood was going to be used in a good way. Okay. And so we did a whole ceremony for it. And the construction people, I thought they were going to be rolling their eyes, and it's like, oh my God, there she goes again. But no, they were really on board with it, and we're very careful about when they came in to help us cut and clear the land. So it was, yeah. So we did, that's what we did through ceremony. And so feeding them the spirit food, which is for them is the tobacco. Yeah. All right. I'm going to get caught up here in the chat. Cindy is saying, whenever there is a new sprouted tree, my mother would plant it where she saw it growing and nurtured it. Ah, that's sweet. That's sweet. And Rob is saying, what I know of the divine sciences and the Holy Scriptures, I've learned in woods and fields. I have no other masters than the beeches and the oaks. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux. I hope I pronounced that right. That is really nice, Rob. Thank you. I like that. It's a nice quote. It's beautiful there. Yeah, it is. Thank you. One of these days, before the mosquitoes come out, come out in droves, right? I'm going to try to see if I can do the live stream out on the deck for you guys, and see if we can do that. I think I have long enough cable to do that. We're going to give it a try. And Cindy's also saying there is also great energy there. Oh, thank you, Cindy. We certainly try. Yeah. We do clearings. I do. Last night, or Wednesday night, really needed it after Polly Joe's show. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I actually lit a candle for everybody, and I also burned some white sage during the healing portion of her show, because there were some pretty big energies getting moved, and so yeah. So thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. All right, so here is what Jamie Sams has to say about the standing tree. She says that the taproot of all civilizations lives within each of us in the present. To nurture the future is to honor the seeds of the present by allowing them to grow. The standing people are asking us, as guardians of Earth Mother, to look for the root of every blessing, acknowledge the truth in it, and use the blessing for the highest good so that it's not given in vain. The standing people card speaks to us of roots and giving. We must nurture ourselves through the connection of the earth in order to give freely without exhaustion. The root of the self is where strength is gathered. The root of self is where strength is gathered. This root should be firmly earthed into the soil of our mother planet. Without this connection, dreams cannot manifest and our giving cannot be compensated by the Earth Mother. If you are spaced out, stop and reconnect. Be still and become the trees in order to observe what is growing in your forest. The root of every answer for physical life is found in the earth. Look to your family tree for the strength offered by your ancestors. Lift your branches high, seeking the light of grandfather's sun, and you will see how your roots make you of the earth and yet a bridge to the sky above. The standing people are asking you to give of yourself. Ask yourself if you are willing to give and receive. Count the root of every blessing with gratitude. Find any blockage that limits your root system or ability to go deeper. Then remove that feeling and go deeper once again for the answers you seek. Remember that we're also the root of the future, and through our lives, future generations are nurtured. Weed out anything that will inhibit your future growth and you can stand proud among your tree relations. That's a lot, and it's pretty darn deep, don't you think? Basically, she is telling us to be like a tree in the giving and the receiving. And she also says something that I think is pretty profound here, is that in order for us to live the lives we're meant to live here, to be able to work our soul contract and gain soul growth, that we have to be connected to Grandmother Earth, that we have to be grounded to her as deeply as we possibly can. That if we're not consciously in our physical bodies, that it's going to be, we make it difficult for ourselves to experience the life we're supposed to experience here. We make it difficult to manifest because we're not completely into our physical bodies. And I tell you what, it makes sense to me, because I know that when we manifest and it's still in spirit, right? It's coming. You can feel it. It's here. In order for it to actually manifest into the physical world, we have to ground it, and we're grounding it through our physical bodies. And if we're not grounded, if we're not as grounded as we possibly can be to Grandmother Earth, then we make it harder on ourselves to bring our manifestations into the physical plane. It makes total sense to me. And so in that complete grounding, that means that we're also paying attention to our lower chakras. And Polly Joe has some pretty good shows about those in the last few years, about how many times we're not consciously connected to our lower chakras. We spend a lot of time in our heart chakra and higher, right? But to have balance and to be experiencing a life as whole as possible, we have to be connected to all of our chakras and the information that's coming in. Yeah. All that from the trees, standing people. And so if you're not physically connected to Grandmother Earth, if you're not spiritually connected to Grandmother Earth, or emotionally or mentally connected to her, that we make our lives more challenging. And the answers that we seek takes time for them to come to us, because we're not grounded. Yeah. It keeps going through my mind as I was talking, this phrase, it comes out of the Bible, as ashes to ashes, dust to dust, that our physical body returns to her when it's time for our spirit to walk on. And so we return to her. And so we're always deeply connected to her, as much as we possibly can be. There's no way that we can disconnect from her unless it's time for us to walk on. And so why not take the time and really be optimally connected to her in whatever way that is for you? That's what I say. Oh, look. Yay. We got information about the hidden lives of trees and where we can go to get it if you don't know, if you'd like to read it, if you'd like to get it. Yeah. Hey, Kimberly's here. Hello, Kimberly. She says, wonderful card, makes sense, and I have been finding a lot of giving and receiving recently. Yeah, and it's in that balance, right? It's in that balance of giving and receiving. There's another quote. Something about the single eye. I'm looking to see if I have my book here. No, I think it's down at the house. I'll bring it. I'll post it for you guys. Okay, I'll post it for you guys. It's a really good quote, and it's about the balance of giving and receiving. Okay, I'll post it after the show. Actually, later tonight. I've got a call at 3:30, so after I'm done with that, I can post it for you. Rob is saying, "Ashes to ashes, funk to funky." We all know Major Tom's a junkie. Oh, such good lyrics. All right, so we have one more card. Okay. And that is to help us understand in a deeper, more expanded way about the standing people. I think you're going to like this one. Power place. And it is about earth connection and empowerment. Got to get that to focus. There we go. Earth connection and empowerment. Power place. Right? Now we all know that everywhere on Grandmother Earth is sacred. We know that, right? But there are some places that have a little bit more power to them, a little bit more energy or medicine to them. And us two-leggeds, we're really drawn to them. They're the ones that we really, really want to go see, right? So like the Grand Canyon, Chaco Canyon, Glastonbury, the tour at Glastonbury, Newgrange in Ireland. We have all kinds of mounds here in the Midwest, that people go to in droves. Now, and we make pilgrimages, right? We make our way to some of those because we're so drawn to them. We just want to feel the energy there. We want to be there. Now, and that's for a lot of different reasons, right? That we individually want to be in those places. But it also is about how it makes us feel. How it makes us feel. That connection. And in those places, many times healings occur of all kinds, whether, in whatever body, right? Healings occur. And so when we are as grounded optimally as we can be, when we go to those places, we take in even more information and more light language kind of energy than our mental mind could even fathom. And so, to be connected that way, it's empowering. That's for sure. And I'm sure that we could probably sit for another hour or two and just share stories about experiences that we've had at power places, right? Sacred sites of all kinds, especially out in nature. But, there's also cathedrals and, like Chartres, right? And walking the labyrinth there. And so there are a lot of buildings, man-made, person-made structures that are built over original pagan sacred sites. And so, to go to those kind of places, to feel the medicine of that area. And now, here's the thing. There are sacred sites that occur naturally, right? That Grandmother Earth created for us. And those are done naturally. Did you know that you can create a sacred site through your intention, through your own ceremonies? Yeah, you can. And when you do that, you're calling on all of creation to come to your assistance to be able to do that. And especially your spiritual team, because they certainly can help. But, whenever we do a space clearing and we do ceremony there, at the very end of the ceremony, and we're standing at the altar, And we're giving thanks to all of those that came to help in the seen and unseen. Is there's a declaration. This is a sacred space. This is a sacred space. So it's said, so it's done. It's a declaration. And so whenever you clean your home or you're working outside, you can dedicate a certain place in your space to be your power place, your sacred space. And you can draw on the energy, the medicine of that space from Grandmother Earth, because you're calling her energy there, kind of concentrated. You can dedicate part of your property, your lawn, to it. We have one here. It's called a medicine wheel. It's large enough to walk through. And so the power place, you can see how these two kind of help each other, right? These two, the standing people, and how they can teach us so much about giving and receiving, and about being grounded to Grandmother Earth, and how in that grounding to her, the optimal grounding to her, can help our lives so much, to even make it easier in a lot of respects. More enjoyable is probably a better way to put that. More enjoyable. And through the information or the resonance of a power place amplifies that. That makes sense? Just want to make sure I hit what we were supposed to use for the power place. Okay, so here's a piece. It says, when we acknowledge our gifts with gratitude in any location on the planet, we create a union with Mother. That divine union is sacred and will be remembered by the stone people in that location. All other creatures enjoy returning to a place blessed in this manner. We two-leggeds are catalyzers who can direct the four clan chiefs, that's the four elements, and that great mystery gave us the legacy of using our gifts to redirect the forces of nature, to catalyze the elements in order to change planetary conditions. We have the ability to direct our thoughts to influence the path of energy lines that feed the earth. You can create a sacred space. You can create a power place for yourself, and you can share it with others, right? You can have ceremony there if you wish. Even if you live in a city, in an apartment on the 3rd floor, you can still do that in your home. Yeah, it's through intention. It's through intention and connecting to the Creator and all that has been created. They come to our aid whenever we ask. You just have to have a clear intention. Okay. There was one other piece I thought that kind of jumped out at me. It says, Earth connections give the energy needed to use our natural gifts and abilities and talents. Without Earth connection, many plans and dreams will vanish where they have no manner in which to become manifest. Okay? So basically, she's saying it again, is that in order for us to bring our manifestations onto the physical plane, that we have to be grounded. That we have to be in our body and grounded. She also talks about power, because there's, when you look at the phrase power place, it could have many meanings, right? It's not about control. It's not about authoritarianism. It's not about, manipulation at all. It's not about abuse. It is about the ability to share our gifts and our talents and our abilities to their fullest extent, to their optimal extent, right? And that nobody can take your power from you unless you allow it. And even then, they can't take it all. They can't take it all. So when we talk about things like disempowering, that's only if you allow it. And if you're grounded to Grandmother Earth, that can't happen. It says that in all cases, when we come to the Earth Mother in a power place for reconnection, we need to clear away these limiting ideas so that we may once again feel her nurturing, which helps us continue the discovery of self. You're seeking a way to become a catalyzer of certain life events if you've chosen the Power Place card. Being the catalyzer in any situation means you are commanding your talents to affect some kind of result. This ability is learned through the Earth connection. Your body can conduct the energy you need to create the desired outcome if you allow the Earth Mother to feed you the extra voltage. So you have to be connected to her. Find a personal power place and call upon the 4 elements through your prayers of gratitude. Then you can command your talents for good and affect the empowerment of manifestation. In doing so, your needs will be met. You can make it happen by using your creativity and receiving the energy needed from the Earth Mother. Remember that you are the catalyzer and are totally responsible for your personal empowerment. That's some pretty big stuff. Pretty big stuff between these two, right? The standing people, the trees. There are role models for giving and receiving, and how to be completely, optimally grounded to Grandmother Earth. And when we do that, our lives can be so much more enjoyable. That we have the opportunity to be able to bring our gifts and our talents, our skills, to be able to share those. And the power place gives us it's like an amplifier for the standing people card. That we can create our own power place, our own sacred place, space, connecting us to Grandmother Earth. And so that when we go to that place, it's like going to a sacred space that, like, Chaco Canyon or Chartres or any other place. But you can create that for yourself through your intention and connecting to spirit to do that, which is probably another class, right? Julie, you want to write that one down? We'll get to that one. To be able, how to do, create a sacred space, an overview. And then maybe what we can do is do maybe an online course about it. Okay. Well, I tell you what, we're going to put that one up for the other teachers and see who's going to step forward to teach that one. Because no matter who teaches it, it's going to be good. So with that, my goodness, my goodness, that was a good message, don't you think? I like it. I do. Of course, I love trees. So, and stone people too. All right. So, anything that resonated with you in this chat, in this conversation, please embrace it and see how the energy unfolds for you today and where this information could be helpful, useful to you. whether you're using it directly or you get to be the witness to somebody and bear witness for them, right? Either way, it's good. Either way, it's good. If it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. It's okay. You're not hurting anyone's feelings by saying, "No, I didn't, that wasn't me. That didn't do it for me." That's all right. There's always tomorrow, because there'll be another card tomorrow. All right. And so, yeah, we're here at Star Nations. We're lining things up for all of you. We got so many things going on all at one time. We're preparing the shows for you for next week. We do have From Star to Stone on Tuesday morning at I think it's 9 o'clock Eastern time. Yeah, 9 o'clock Eastern, and then at noon Eastern is Polly Jo LeBay Show Chakra Sessions. And then that evening, or that afternoon, is this live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then Tuesday night is my weekly show, Communications from Home, at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's just on Tuesday. That's 4 shows. And then on Wednesday is Soul Connections with Polly Jo LeBay, and that's at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Thursday we have Life Wisdom with Ed Langdon. And Ed Langdon is a law of attraction expert, and he also has tapping for us to help us through some of those blockages. And so his show is on at 4 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. Okay, so those are just the shows. And then we also have coming up for you is the April edition of Star Nations Magazine. We're right at the halfway point, or a little bit beyond the halfway point, of getting that created. And yeah, it's going to be a good one. Wait till you guys see it. I love the cover. Of course, I am partial. I love the cover. So that's the magazine. And then we're also working on The Sound Weavers, which is another children's book that we're publishing, and the author is Madonna De Paulo. And that should be coming out. We're really, we're about this deep into it. And we're looking at doing the launch on around April 19th or so. But you guys will get more information about that. Her book is all about whales and dolphins and how they weave magic for us. So yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Mark's here too. Hello, Mark. Good to see you here. Frequency is language of unity. Yes, it is. You're welcome, Rob. You're welcome. And with that, enjoy the rest of your Friday. And we'll see you back here, right? Tomorrow, Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Until then, Bama Mina. In Potawatomi, that means until we see each other again. Love you guys.